Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Voyage. The Age of Speed begins with the Robbery of Nami. Chapter 1. Sea Circle Calendar 1520. East Blue. A certain sea area. Kill. At this time, the two ships had docked. One of the ships was a pirate ship, with a pirate flag flying on it. The other ship was a merchant ship. There are many guards on the merchant ship. At this time, the two groups were fighting each other on the merchant ship. I don't know how long it took. The sound of killing gradually became smaller. It was clear that the battle was over. Victory belongs to the pirates. Young men, please take action. Don't leave any valuable items behind. Move them all away for me. The pirate captain announced loudly. Roar. At this moment, all the pirates roared excitedly. Fighting and killing are just means. Their purpose is to make a fortune. Now that the captain has ordered them to search for money, they are naturally motivated to do such a lucrative job. Although the big head needs to be handed over, if you secretly hide some, as long as it is not discovered, even the captain will turn a blind eye and no one will pursue it. List is one of these pirates. However, he is just a slave on this pirate group, and he does not have a share in some of the well-oiled cabins. He can only go to the granary that no one wants to go to at the moment. You dig the empty chicken. Anyone there? List carefully pushed open the warehouse door, just like the scene when the deserter King Kebi first appeared. He looked around. There is no one in the warehouse. There was no movement at all. List felt relieved. Go into the warehouse. I'm starving to death, let's eat something to fill my stomach first. List murmured to himself and walked to a place where fruits were piled. He picked up an apple with both hands at the same time and started chewing it. While chewing, he recalled the terrible experiences he had experienced over the past week. He was originally a promising young man of the 21st century. That day, his colleague got promoted. Invite everyone to a meal outside. Although he worked hard, he was not the one who got promoted. He was a little depressed and couldn't help but drink too much for a while. On the way back, wobbly. As soon as I stopped thinking, I fell into a sewer without a manhole cover. Then, it magically traveled through time. And fortunately, he survived and fell directly onto the Hammer Pirates' purchasing boat before he could recover. The returning pirates taken by the Hammer Pirates also boarded the ship. In this way, he became a slave of the Hammer Pirates. They say newcomers are easily bullied, and a slave has no human rights. Looking back on all the hardships I have experienced this week, I feel sad and tearful now. List, who had not had a full meal for a week, finished 4 apples in one go and felt that he could eat 4 more. So I picked up 2 more. However, just when he picked up 2 apples, suddenly, I saw a very special and strange fruit that was different from apples in the fruit basket. I was startled and took it out casually. When List saw the characteristics of the strange fruit in his hand, his heart beat wildly. He was afraid that he would be dazzled. He rubbed his eyes and looked again. Yes, that's it, devil fruit. Ha ha ha. As long as people don't die, there will always be a day of change. Lu Xuan really can't be honest with me. After List shed a handful of excited tears, he threw away the apple in his hand and bit into the devil fruit. He didn't know what devil fruit this devil fruit was. However, no matter what devil fruit it is, he will never dislike it. Because no matter what kind of devil fruit it is already a glimmer of life that he can grasp. Vomit. After one sip, the flavor instantly exploded on his taste buds. It made him want to spit out his guts. He quickly covered his mouth with his hand and swallowed the entire devil fruit completely. Then, he quickly grabbed the 2 apples next to him and gnawed them crazily. Until the disgusting smell of devil fruit is completely diluted. He just stopped. As expected of devil fruit, the unpalatable taste is so authentic. I don't know what kind of abilities I will gain next. Quote. Muttering to himself, List began to silently sense his body. It seems like an electric current is flowing through my body, and my body seems to become lighter. Take a few steps and take a look. List thought for a moment. The decision was made quickly. Whoosh, boom. I saw an afterimage passing by and hitting the wall directly. Although List gritted his teeth in pain. However, he was extremely happy. After this short experiment, he probably knew what devil fruit he was eating. Paramesha quick fruit. Not bad, not bad. With this ability, Starting from today, I, List, will heaven-defying my destiny. List smiled happily. At this time, bang, the door of the warehouse was suddenly kicked open with force. 2 second-rate pirates walked in. His eyes immediately fell on List. Immediately, a malicious smile appeared. List, it's you boy, what did you just say? Heaven-defying changing your fate. You kid are trying to resist us, are you? List glanced at the two of them. I made some calculations secretly. Should he fall out with them directly, or should he hide his shame for a while? It's better to hide your stupidity for a while. I just ate kue fruit and I'm not familiar with it yet. As for the Hammer Pirates, apart from such second-rate pirates, Captain Bloodhammer Henry and Vice Captain Madman Andre are still very strong. One has a reward of 5 million, and the other has a reward of 3 million. Taken together, they are almost the same as the Bandit King. Let's hold it steady first. After thinking about this, List smiled and said, the two eldest brothers were joking, I just think there is no future as a slave, and I want to be a pirate like the two eldest brothers. When pirates follow Boss Henry, eat meat and share money happily, isn't that a heaven-defying change of life? Quote, HMPH, with your small body, you want to be a pirate. You're still far from it. If you don't want to get beaten, get to work quickly. The two pirates glanced at List disdainfully. They have never seen anyone as weak as List. I'm afraid I'm not even as good as a child, but I dare to speak nonsense here. He immediately scolded angrily. Hi. Seeing that the two of them did not continue to delve into the problem, List smiled and started to work. Time flies, and 3 days pass by in a flash. 3 days ago, the Hammer Pirates' robbery of the merchant ship was a huge coup. Therefore, the Hammer Pirates also celebrated for 3 days and 3 nights. Everyone was quite happy, so no one came to trouble List in the past 3 days. And in these 3 days, he became familiar with the ability of kue fruit. So far, he will no longer hit the wall because he is too fast to control his body. He is more confident that as long as he wants to run away, no one in the Hammer Pirates can catch him. It can be said that after not seeing each other for 3 days, he was completely transformed. Night, List stood on top of the boat. Look at the bright white moon. He took a long sip of the strong drink. It's time to act. Whoosh, the moment the words fell, List has disappeared into his original place. He sneaked all the way and quietly came to the warehouse where the Hammer Pirates kept their money. Half of the Hammer Pirates' wealth is placed in the captain's room and belongs to the captain. The other half is placed in a warehouse and belongs to the public wealth of the pirate group. Of course, the captain has the final say on how to use the money. There is a warehouse keeper in the warehouse. The strength is not weak, at least among the elite in this pirate group. At this time, List had decided to let him be the first drop of blood he had. However, when List approached the warehouse where the money was placed, he discovered that the warehouse keeper had been knocked unconscious first. I didn't expect that besides me, there would be other people interested in the money in the warehouse. For a while, List became interested in this man's identity. He had been with the Hammer Pirates for 10 days, and he knew very well how much the pirates in this pirate group respected Bloodhammer Henry. Even the Madman Andre would not dare to disobey Henry's orders. Not to mention stealing money. Who is this person? What a courage! List quietly slipped into the warehouse. Soon, a girl with orange hair was found busy collecting Bailey and gold. Startled slightly, it's actually her. I used to be a pirate fan. When List saw this figure, it was impossible not to recognize him. She is none other than the heroine of One Piece, Nami. It's interesting. 3 days ago, the Hammer Pirates looted the merchant ship. Not only did they gain weight, Bloodhammer Henry's bounty was raised from 5 million to 7 million Baileys. They also attacked East Blue. He showed his face harshly. The little thief cat Nami seemed to smell the fishy smell, and secretly went to the Hammer Pirates to steal money. Quote. List thought, approaching Nami quietly. Behind her, she smiled evilly. Henry Bloodhammer is used to leaving half of his wealth in his room, do you want to steal it? Half more. Nami was a little surprised. However, he quickly reacted. He quickly turned around, took a step back, and looked at List warily. Who are you? I should be the one asking you, right? How dare you come to the Hammer Pirates to steal my money? List snorted. Your money. Are you Bloodhammer Henry? Nami's pupils shrank suddenly, but she soon realized something was wrong. No, you are not Bloodhammer Henry. I have seen Bloodhammer Henry's bounty list. He is very thick and has a beard. You, a pretty boy, look weak and indifferent, nothing like him. Quote. The more Nami spoke, the more confident she became. After looking List over, he continued, you should be like me, you are here to steal money. You are very quick in your thinking. You can see the truth so quickly. List smiled faintly and continued, however, the money does belong to me, because I like it. You've fallen in love with it, and it's yours. What's wrong with you? Upon hearing this, Nami's face flashed with disgust. Because, List's remark reminded her of Arlong. Arlong also took a fancy to Coco West Village. As a result, the island was occupied. And her adoptive mother was also killed because of her resistance. That's right, the one I like is mine. What, do you have any objection? List nodded. Then he pulled out a samurai sword that was picked up from a merchant ship 3 days ago and was looked down upon by others. Cold light reflected on Nami's face. Nami's pupils shrank suddenly. He quickly said, wait a minute. What else do you want to say? List said. We are all here to steal money. There is no need to draw swords. Besides, I am not a weak girl. If we fight here, there will definitely be a big fuss. By then, the hammer pirates will. If someone comes to check, none of us can escape. Nami paused here. Then, he bit his pink lips and said, no big deal, I'll give you half of it. No, I want them all. List said, how could you do this? I was here first. I'm willing to share half of it with you. I'm already bleeding profusely, and you still want to take away my share. I've never seen anyone like you. Nami said, very unhappy. You've seen it now. List said, unmoved. If you do this, the worst we can do is break up. Nami said with a fierce look on his face when he heard this. At the same time, he also took out the stick he carried with him. Interesting. List looked at this scene and laughed. Then he put the katana back into its scabbard. Okay, it's up to you, half of each of us, the Bailey is mine, and the gold is yours. This is not how the accounts are divided. There are obviously more Baileys here than gold. If you divide it like this, I will suffer a great loss. Seeing List take the knife back, Nami secretly breathed a sigh of relief and vetoed List's proposal again. Allocation. Nami really doesn't give in to her own interests. A disadvantage is a blessing. List said with a faint smile. Then you can take advantage of this loss. Nami rolled her eyes at List. I'm sorry, I'll eat anything, but I won't suffer any loss. As soon as List finished speaking, he disappeared from Nami's eyes. The next moment, he was behind Nami. A hand slashed hard to Nami's neck. Nami rolled her eyes and fainted. Have a good sleep here. When you wake up, everything will be different. List glanced at Nami. Then, he set his sights on the batch of Baileys. Cheat, give me Krypton gold. As he spoke, List's left index finger suddenly turned golden. Within 3 meters, all Baileys were devoured instantly. From time to time, a panel appeared in front of List. Finance owner. List. Physique. 0.41 for pirates and ordinary people. Spirit. 1.21 for pirates and ordinary people. Diongen index. 0.7. As a time traveler, List doesn't know why he can understand the words and characters of this world. However, his body is really weak compared to people in the pirate world. However, the mental strength is not much different. 0.7. So, just now, Cheat absorbed 7 million Baileys. List thought in his mind. Cheat, add all the Midas points to my body. List gave an order to Cheat. Complete adding points. Finance owner. List. Physique. 1.1. Spirit. 1.2. Golden index. 0. List silently felt his body. In the world of pirates, a 1.1 physique is just the most ordinary physique, but it is a physique that any normal man can have. However, at this time, List could still feel that he had become much stronger. Coupled with the support of Kuai fruit, he is more confident that he can win Bloodhammer Henry. Time to meet Henry. List quietly left the warehouse. Nami, who had just been knocked unconscious by him, suddenly opened her eyes. After moving his eyes flexibly, sitting up suddenly, he glanced at the warehouse door, curled his lips, and said mockingly, "This guy is still a rookie. It's not clear whether he knocked someone unconscious or not. So funny. He seemed to be still thinking about the other half of Bloodhammer Henry's fortune that he had left with him. No, I have to follow over and take a look. Maybe I can steal a chicken." Quote. Nami is mocking List though. It was also discovered that List's power was very weak, not even as good as hers. Otherwise, the blow just now would not have knocked her unconscious. However, List's speed still scared her. What if List had not slashed the back of her neck with a knife, but directly slashed her with the knife? She's probably dead. In addition, List's newly golden fingers swallowed up all the Baileys, which also surprised her. She didn't know what kind of situation List was in, so she didn't dare to sneak up on List easily, and even had to cooperate with his performance. Thinking of the opportunity, Nami immediately stood up, quickly put all the gold into his bag, and quietly slipped out of the warehouse with the bag in hand. List was quietly lurking towards Bloodhammer Henry's room at this time. Suddenly a conversation came to his ears. "Bamboo pole, the captain needs to wash his face. Get me a plate of water and take it to the captain's cabin." A burly man ordered to a tall and thin man. "Fat dog, this is the job the captain asked you to do, and you actually made me do it." Zuzan responded reluctantly. "Are you going?" Fat dog heard this and raised his hand directly, about to draw the bamboo pole. A flash of panic flashed across Zugan's face. It can be seen that he is actually quite afraid of fat dogs. Faced with the threat of the fat dog, he reluctantly responded, don't fight, I'll just go." HMPH, just agree to my request from the beginning, waste so much time." List's eyes lit up when he heard the conversation, and he thought of a way to successfully approach Bloodhammer Henry. So he pretended to be ignorant and passed by the corridor where the two of them were standing. Zugan's eyes suddenly lit up when he saw List. "List, come here." "Brother Zugan, brother fat dog, what do you want?" List walked towards the two of them with a restricted look. "Don't worry, I won't hit you," Zuzan said. "The captain wants to wash his face. You go get a plate of water and bring it to the captain. Do you hear me clearly?" "Listen clearly." List nodded, obediently. As a slave on his ship, anyone can be summoned. A slight hesitation will lead to a barrage of punches and kicks. The week he traveled through time was almost like this. Therefore, Zugan saw that List accepted this job so obediently. He patted List on the shoulder with great satisfaction. Said, "Yes, he is very obedient and is a qualified slave. When that day comes, your Zugan brother, I am in a good mood. Maybe I will say a few nice words to you in front of the captain and let you be promoted from slave to trainee pirate." Quote. "Thank you, brother Zugan." List responded with a look of surprise. Afterwards, Zuzan and Fatty put their arms around their shoulders and left as if they were brothers. List looked at the two people walking away and showed a smile. "You think so highly of me? Then after I kill Bloodhammer Henry, I will also give you a good time." Button. The door to the captain's cabin was knocked by List. "Come in." Bloodhammer Henry's voice came from the captain's cabin. Hearing this, List pushed the door open and walked in with a plate of water. "Captain, you want the water?" List glanced at Henry, who was sitting on the chair, half drunk and half awake, and said respectfully, "Put it there." Bloodhammer Henry glanced at List and said casually, "Hi." List responded. Then he put the water dish on a shelf. "Captain, if you are okay, then I will quit." As soon as List entered the room, he discovered that Henry's eyes had been locked on him. Therefore, he decided to retreat in order to advance. "Wait a minute." Henry suddenly stopped him. "Captain, do you have anything else to do? What's your name?" Henry was half drunk and looked at List with squinted eyes. "Captain, my name is List." "List, I remembered the slave brought back by Fat Dog and the others 10 days ago. During the recent period, the Hammer Pirates have not recruited new members. The only new person is the slave List who was brought back 10 days ago." List said this. He recalled it immediately. After all, List's status on their pirate ship is quite special. He was also particularly impressed by List. He is obviously in his 20s. As a result, his body was so weak that he was not as good as a woman. "It turns out it's you. Why didn't I notice it before? You're pretty. If that's the case, then please stay and serve me tonight. Bloodhammer Henry said. Ha, List was instantly defeated. Wasn't this guy wary of him? But peeking at his beauty. Although List does not have a high degree of education and a low salary, he is quite confident in his appearance. It's just that a thick man fell in love with his appearance. What is going on? Get out. What the hell? Come here. After you have served me, you will be mine. From now on, no one in this pirate group will dare to bully you. You will still be able to rise to great heights, and even reach a position below one person and above 10,000 people. What's wrong with you? Bloodhammer Henry said. But, I don't like men. List said calmly. Well, Henry Bloodhammer has another reason to die. For daring to peep at his beauty, you are already seeking death. Why, do you still dare to reject me? Henry Circle's big eyes stared suddenly. A murderous aura enveloped List. If he had just traveled through time, List would definitely be frightened by Bloodhammer Henry. However, now List has not only seen several battles, he even has devil fruit. He has extremely sufficient confidence. He even came here with a heart to kill Bloodhammer Henry. Naturally, he would not be frightened by Bloodhammer Henry. However, List thought quickly and felt that this was a good opportunity. So I pretended to be scared. A submissive look. As he walked towards Bloodhammer Henry, he said, fearfully. I know. This is such a good thing. Henry Bloodhammer looked at this scene and laughed proudly. However, at this moment, List pulled out an afterimage and quickly approached Bloodhammer Henry. With lightning speed, he pulled out the dagger hidden in his sleeve and stabbed Bloodhammer Henry in the neck. Puff! The dagger penetrated Bloodhammer Henry's throat like a torrent. Bloodhammer Henry stared at the ring with eyes full of disbelief. He didn't expect that. This seemingly cowardly List actually dared to assassinate him, and moreover, he succeeded. The humiliation I have endured these days will be recovered from you. Goodbye, Bloodhammer Henry. Looking at Henry, who was completely dead, List breathed a long sigh of relief. Kicked him off the chair. Then, look around the captain's cabin. Then he walked towards the plate of water. Use a towel to clean the blood from your body. He opened Bloodhammer Henry's wardrobe again, trying to find something suitable. However, after he opened the closet, a closet full of new clothes appeared in front of him. For a moment, he was spoiled for choice. These clothes were obtained from the robbery of the merchant ship 3 days ago. Henry hasn't even had time to wear it yet. List finds something suitable to wear. Then look for the place where Bloodhammer Henry hides his money in the captain's cabin. Soon, he found a large amount of money and gold packed in boxes. List didn't hesitate at all and directly made money. Finance owner. List. Physique. 1.1. Spirit. 1.2. Diongen Index. 1.2. There are 12 million. List was a little surprised. But it feels natural. After all, they had just looted a wealthy-looking merchant ship 3 days ago. He may not have had so many before, but after looting the merchant ship, he probably did. It just gives me an advantage. Cheat. Add all the Midas points to your body. Complete adding points. Finance owner. List. Physique. 2.3. Spirit. 1.2. Golden Index. 0. My body has become stronger again. This feeling is so good. List closed his eyes, feeling his increasing body strength. I feel very happy. After a while, List just opened his eyes. Glancing at the gold in the box, a flash of pity flashed in his eyes. It's a pity that my cheat can only swallow Bailey, not gold. Otherwise, I'm afraid my body would have doubled again. Forget it, I can't force it. With my body twice that of an ordinary person, I should be able to kill everyone on this ship using the Kue Kue fruit. The speed of the Kue Kue fruit to List is indeed very fast. His current speed completely exceeds 100 meters per second. However, with his previous physical strength, it was simply unable to sustain him for long periods of time. In about 10 seconds, he would probably have to lie down. Now, his body has doubled. Physical strength will naturally double accordingly. As a result, the time he can use the fruit's ability is much longer. There are almost 40 people in the Hammer Pirates. If they really fight, maybe it won't be enough for him to cut. Just when List was thinking, there was a knock on the door. List raised an eyebrow. He lowered his voice and responded in a hoarse voice, "Who is it?" Brother, it's me, Andre. The person outside the door seemed to be a little drunk. I didn't notice anything was wrong with the sound. Come in, List responded again in a hoarse voice. Andre opened the door and stepped into the captain's cabin. Next moment, what greeted him was a dagger that had just drank the blood of Bloodhammer Henry. Puff! List's dagger stabbed into the chest of the madman Andre quickly and accurately. Through his heart. Are you, your slave? After Andre was stabbed through the heart. Didn't die directly. He even subconsciously punched List. List doesn't have a deadlift. Instead, he quickly took a few steps back. Put some distance between yourself and Andre. After Andre punched the air. Instead of pursuing him, he turned around and ran away. As he ran, he shouted loudly, "Come here, slave List has rebelled." The boat is only so big. Andre shouted. It spread to all the pirates' ears instantly. Crash, clatter, for a moment, countless footsteps quickly gathered towards this side. List saw this. There was no panic at all. Because Andre, the madman who was most likely to cause him trouble, had been severely injured by him. Even if he didn't die on the spot, he wouldn't live long. List walked out of the captain's cabin. He took the samurai sword he had placed nearby and walked in the direction of the blood dripping. Soon, 2 pirates rushed to him. "You slave, how dare you betray our hammer pirates and stab Vice Captain Andre, go to hell." The 2 pirates wielded their swords with ferocious expressions and slashed at List. However, List was faster than them, moving second and moving first. While they were still holding their knives high, List had already swung the katana in his hand and slashed towards the necks of the 2 men. Puff puff, 2 streams of blood spurted out crazily. The 2 pirates fell down in a daze. With full confusion. Completely dead, List passed over their bodies. Keep moving forward. Soon, more than a dozen pirates came in and blocked the corridor. List, you, a lowly slave, dare to kill people. Brothers, kill me. Kill, whoosh. When a group of pirates attacked List, List launched the attack 1 step faster than them. Puff puff. The kue fruit doesn't just make List move faster. Even the neurological reactions are frighteningly fast. He always kills the enemy completely before he can hit him. The knife falls when the hand rises, the knife falls when the hand rises. List relied on his speed and reaction to be 1 step ahead of others, and it took less than 10 seconds to completely kill through the entire corridor. The people behind seemed to have realized the horror of List. They also realized that in this small corridor, they could not take advantage of their numbers. They all retreated to the deck. And their choice happened to be in line with List's thoughts. He didn't give chase, but walked slowly towards the deck. When List walked out on the deck, soon he was surrounded by people. However, I was shocked by List's performance just now. For a while, no pirate dared to take the lead. List's eyes swept across the faces of the pirates surrounding him. Smiling faintly, "Henry has been killed by me, and Andre has been stabbed through the heart by me and is on the verge of death. Do you really want to fight for them and me?" Quote. When the pirates heard List's words, they couldn't help but look at each other for a moment. "List, what do you want?" a bolder pirate suddenly asked. "It's very simple, surrender to me," List said solemnly. Hearing this, many pirates were immediately moved. After all, when they come out to hang out, they don't care who they follow, as long as they can eat and drink well, they don't care who they follow. However, they also have some concerns. "List, you were a slave before, and many of us have bullied you. If we surrender to you, what if you settle the score 1,000 years later?" asked another pirate. "Don't think of me as being so stingy. I can forgive everyone except a few people who will die." List laughed. "Except a few people. Those few. Bamboo Pole, Thin Dog, Fat Dog, Big Bear, that's the 4 of you." These 4 were the 4 people who brought him to the Hammer Pirates in the first place, and they were also the ones who liked to bully him the most. No matter what, he won't let these guys go. A dead Taoist friend is not a poor Taoist. In addition to the 4 people named by List, everyone else was secretly relieved. At the same time, he silently accepted List's request. However, they did not immediately speak up and surrender. They looked at each other, waiting for others to speak first. The expressions of the 4 people named by List changed drastically on the spot, especially after seeing that the others remained silent. Even more panicked. "No, we absolutely cannot continue like this. Otherwise, it's dangerous. The thin dog who was named said decisively. Don't listen to him, he is trying to divide us. If the 4 of us are dead, can you guarantee that he will not continue to name us? We have been partners who have fought side by side for many years, but he, a slave, wants to stand on top of us and dominate us. How can you tolerate such a thing? Quote, friends, let's kill him together while we have more people. Captain Henry is dead, and Vice Captain Andre is about to die. As long as we kill him, the Hammer Pirates will belong to us. Think of the gold and Baileys on our ship. As long as we kill him, it will all belong to us. At this moment, the pirates who were originally ready to surrender began to get ready to move again. Kill him. I'll go first. Seeing that everyone had been persuaded, Fat Dog roared angrily, put himself as a pledge, and rushed towards List holding a big knife. List also moved at this time. Whoosh! It turned into an afterimage and flew towards the Fat Dog quickly, and wiped the Fat Dog's neck with the knife quickly and hard. Puff! The Fat Dog's neck was broken on the spot. Blood spurted out crazily, and the Fat Dog fell down unwillingly. And List's presence didn't stop there. Now that it has moved, then you have to kill the chicken and respect the monkey. Otherwise, how could we frighten this group of pirates who were ready to make a move? Puff puff. List appeared like a ghost in front of the thin dog, the bamboo pole, and Shang-er, raising and lowering the knife in his hand. Kill 3 people neatly. The whole process takes no more than 5 seconds. All the pirates looked at this scene and couldn't help but break out in cold sweat. The flames that were just about to start were extinguished instantly. At this time, List glanced across the faces of the pirates again. If I can kill 3 of them, I can kill you and give you one last chance. Do you accept it or not? List's voice poured into everyone's ears like a magic sound filling their ears. All the pirates were so frightened that they dropped their weapons and knelt down to beg for mercy. We are willing to surrender. Boss List, you will be our boss from now on. If you ask us to go east, we will never dare to go west. If you ask us to go south, we will never dare to go north. Very good. List nodded. Now, I give you a task to clean up all the corpses on the ship. Hi. The remaining 20 pirates responded quickly. It soon became busy, and List was not idle after seizing control of the ship. He turned around and walked towards the warehouse again. He still misses Nami a little. However, when he walked to the warehouse, it was discovered that Nami and all the gold had disappeared. Wake up so quickly. For a moment, List couldn't help scratching his head. Then, he quickly walked towards the captain's cabin. He had told Nami before that Henry left half of his wealth in the captain's cabin. With Nami's money-grubbing character, she would definitely not give up the gold there. When List rushed to the captain's cabin, Nami happened to sneak out of the captain's cabin carrying a bag of gold. What are you looking at? List looked at this scene and couldn't help but smile. You. Nami looked at List who suddenly appeared in front of her, her pupils trembled suddenly, and she almost screamed. Although she refrained from screaming, she was still so frightened that she backed away. In the captain's cabin, Henry's body was still there. Those guys from the Hammer Pirates didn't dispose of the corpses that fast. After seeing Heng's tragic death, she realized that List was a cruel person. This ruthless person, right in front of her now. It's strange that she's not afraid. You seem to be afraid of me. List looked at Nami playfully. No, no. Nami shook her head quickly. Immediately, he smiled and said, didn't you already take Bailey away? Why did you come back? This is the captain's room, and it will be my territory from now on. Is it weird that I come back here? List looked at Nami playfully. Your territory. After you killed Bloodhammer Henry, you also took away his pirate group. Nami's eyes widened. You can say that. List nodded. Then he smiled playfully and said, now, the Hammer Pirates belong to me, and everything on the ship naturally belongs to me. The gold behind you also belongs to me. You, of course, you also belong to me. From today on, you are my boat-pressing lady. List said domineeringly. No, no, I don't belong to you. At worst, I will return all the gold to you. Just let me live. Nami came back to his senses in shock and said quickly. No, I'm attracted to you. List said domineeringly. He has been a good, law-abiding citizen in modern society for more than 20 years. However, All bottom lines and conscience seemed to be completely lost in just 10 days of slavery. In these 10 days, this sea taught him what it means to eat the weak and what it means to do whatever one wants. As long as you are happy. Others, it doesn't matter. How could you do this? Nami almost burst into tears when she heard List's words. Okay, don't cry. Become mine and I will be good to you. Nami looked at List, who looked serious and felt helpless. It's really like a scholar meeting a soldier, and it's hard to explain why. Nami took a deep breath and tried to calm down. Then, he looked at List seriously and said, now that things have happened, I have to tell you my true identity. I am the leader of the Fishman Pirates. The little thief cat Nami. If you recognize me, please let me go. Otherwise, when my brother Arlong comes to find you, you will not be able to reap the benefits. My brother Arlong, he is a big pirate with a bounty of 20 million. Quote. PFF'd. List, listen to Nami's serious words. I couldn't help but laugh out loud. Why are you laughing? Nami couldn't help but feel angry when she saw that List was not frightened at all and even couldn't help laughing. I heard a joke and couldn't help laughing. List shook his head with a smile on his face. I know about the big pirates, but those people are offering bounties of hundreds of millions or billions. It's the first time I've heard of someone who dares to call himself a big pirate with just 20 million. Quote. But my brother Arlong's bounty is already the highest in the East Blue. Dealing with you is no problem. Nami said angrily. HMPH, give me another 3 months and I will take off his head myself. List said confidently. The potential of Kue fruit is very strong. Moreover, in these 3 days, he has already envisioned several development directions. Before, he was only familiar with the fruit and had no time to develop its ability. Now that the threat has been removed, give him some time to develop his abilities. He was confident of cutting off Arlong's head. Just brag. Your strength is not as great as mine. You don't even know if someone has been knocked unconscious. You are a complete rookie. Why do you say such things? Nami mocked mercilessly. List blushed when he heard this. He asked why Nami woke up so quickly. It turned out that the person was not knocked unconscious at all. That's because I show mercy to you. Otherwise, you would have died tragically in my hands like Bloodhammer Henry and Madman Andre. List argued. Nami pouted. There was no rebuttal, because Bloodhammer Henry and the outlaw Andre did die at the hands of List. How can you let me go? Why should I let you go? From now on, you are mine. I will never let you go in this life. List laughed. I'm not kidding you. I'm really a cadre of the Arlong Pirates, the little girl that Brother Arlong values. I still have the mark of the Arlong Pirates on me, look at it if you don't believe me. Saying that, Nami raised her arms, revealing the Arlong Pirates' pirate flag pattern case. List glanced at it and said with a disapproving smile, stop pretending, Nami, I know everything about you. It's true that you are a member of the Arlong Pirates, but your relationship with Arlong is not that good. You did not join the Arlong Pirates voluntarily, but were forced to join. Even your adoptive mother, Belmere, died at Arlong's hands. You should hate him very much. However, sometimes you have to pull his tiger skin. Don't you hate this feeling? Quote. Nami shuddered. List looked at List in shock. Why do you know so clearly? I naturally have my own channels. List said. Make a bet, Nami. What are you betting on? At this time, List took the initiative, and Nami had no choice but to follow List's words. Bet on whether I can kill Arlong. If I can kill Arlong, you will be willing to follow me from now on. What if you can't kill Arlong? Nami asked. By that time, I may have died in Arlong's hands, and it won't matter what happened. List said with a carefree smile. You can't beat Arlong without a bet. If he knows about my bet with you, he will definitely not get the good results from me. Nami shook his head and refused without thinking. Don't think of me as too weak, and don't think of Arlong as too invincible, Nami. I won't do anything I'm not sure about easily. Since I dare to make a bet with you, I naturally have a certain degree of certainty. List said, shaking his head. HMPH, you have no idea how terrifying Arlong is. He is a fish man. The physique of a fish man is naturally 10 times that of ordinary people. He is not comparable to Henry the Hammer or Andre the Outlaw. Nami said. Then do you know that fishmen with a physique 10 times that of ordinary people are just slaves of humans in the Grand Line? Ryoma laughed. The so-called Arlong is just the loser of the Grand Line. He can't compete with others, so he can only escape to the East Blue, the weakest sea area, to dominate. Nami's expression moved slightly when she heard List's words. However, she did not accept List's bet. Because no matter how much List belittles Arlong, Arlong will always be a big mountain in her heart. It's hard to move. Seeing that Nami still didn't accept his bet, List continued, I heard that you and Arlong have an agreement. If you gather 100 million, you can redeem your village Kokoja. You actually know this? Nami was shocked again. You know, not even her sister or anyone in her village knows about this. Well, she thought she didn't know. Then do you think that when you really raise 100 million, will Arlong really abide by your agreement? List asked again. Nami's expression changed. In fact, she is also worried about this problem. However, she had never dared to think about this problem before. I have been forcing myself not to think about this problem. Keep saving money desperately. After struggling for a while, Nami said feebly, this is my only chance. Now, I have given you another opportunity. Why don't you seize it? List said solemnly. One more choice, one more hope, right? Nami heard this and looked up at List. Take a good look at List. He said, are you really sure you can kill Arlong? Certainly. Okay, I accept your bet. Nami gritted his teeth and said. However, I also have a request. Tell me the story. I hope to redeem Kokoja first, and then you take action against Arlong. Nami said solemnly. You still don't believe me? List laughed. No, I just want to use both opportunities. Nami said solemnly. I have worked hard for 8 years for this agreement. I want to see a result. If Arlong fulfills my agreement, I will run away before you attack him. Don't get involved in the fight between you. And you can't involve me in Kokoja. However, don't worry, if you win, I will still agree to join you. After all, my village is there. I can escape the monk but I cannot escape the temple. If Arlong does not comply with our agreement, then I will fight against Arlong with you. Nami mustered up her courage. You have clearly calculated your own benefits. Doing this doesn't seem to be of any benefit to me. List smiled. However, I agreed. You agreed. Nami's eyes widened. Yes, I agreed, because I always believed that Arlong would die by my hands. However, before that, you must give me some benefits. Quote. After saying that, List's eyes instantly became hot. What's the benefit? Nami asked innocently, unaware of List's intention. Of course it's you. List laughed, not giving Nami a chance to speak. He hugged her directly and walked towards the madman Andre's room. Although Andre's room is not as luxurious and spacious as Bloodhammer Henry's. But, it's also pretty big. Moreover, Andre seems to have a misophobia. List went in to clean it several times and it was clean every time. Compared with Bloodhammer Henry's messy captain's cabin with corpses at this time. Definitely more comfortable. Don't want. Nami screamed in panic in List's arms. I heard that when a woman says she doesn't want it, she really wants it in her heart. You should be the same way. List laughed. That's not the case. You gangster, let me go. Rogue, maybe, I am a pirate gangster. Don't pirates just do whatever they want? Do whatever they want. But you can't win my heart even if you win me. Then get your people first. Nami refused at first. However, List is not ugly, he is even very handsome. There is also an indescribable charm. The longer the contact. Nami's resistance weakened. Finally, let List. Alas, just use this as a bargaining chip to redeem Kokoja village. 2 hours later, List walked out of the room. I walked around Bloodhammer Henry's room and found that it had been cleaned and was quite clean. Some of the things used by Bloodhammer Henry have been collected. Everything in the room has also been replaced with new ones. List looked very satisfied. Afterwards, I walked around the corridor again and found everything was quite clean. There is no smell of blood at all. Afterwards, List took to the deck. Shouted. Everyone gather. Soon, all the pirates of the Hammer Pirates gathered on the deck. Is everyone here? List looked around at everyone and asked. Captain List, everyone is here. All the pirates looked around. Feeling that except for the dead, everyone who should have arrived, they responded in unison. Very good. List nodded. From today on, my pirate group will be officially established. Let's call it the Money Pirate Group. What do you think of this name? Not so good. The same thought came to all the pirates' minds. However, no one dared to say it in front of List. One by one even started to flatter him. Captain, what a great name. That's right, why do we go to sea? Isn't it just to make a fortune? The name Money is so in line with our dream of being pirates. The captain is so powerful, it directly touches the essence of our pirates. Quote, what follows becomes more and more outrageous. After hearing this, List felt blushing and embarrassed. He quickly waved his hand to interrupt their flattery. Okay, that's almost it. Who can draw? Captain, I can draw. I used to draw the pirate flags of the Hammer Pirates. A bald man in his 20s stood up and said. What is your name? My name is Bigga. Okay, I'll leave it to you to draw the new pirate flag. I don't have many requirements, as long as the skull's teeth become golden and the two bones look like coins. Is that okay? Captain, no problem. Bijia heard the words and quickly replied. Although I don't know what the captain's taste is, such a simple pattern can't stop him. Okay, I'll leave it to you then. Hi. List glanced at everyone and then said, who among you is the strongest? When everyone heard this, they looked at each other. Finally, they set their sights on the two people in a tacit understanding. Captain, if nothing else, Rocky and I should be the strongest among our group. At this time, a burly man said. Your name seems to be Johnson. List looked at the burly man and said. After all, he also stayed with the Hammer Pirates for 10 days. Even if I can't remember everyone's name. But we can also recognize a few outstanding characters. This guy is 2 meters tall and very powerful. Proficient in using a wrench. In terms of strength, he can be ranked in the top 10 among the Hammer Pirates. The top 10 already belong to small cadres. So, List recognized him. Yes, Captain List, I am Johnson. Johnson nodded quickly. List nodded and looked at the curly-haired man next to him. Are you Rocky? Yes, Captain. Not bad. You two have the temperament to become strong men. From now on, you two will be the battle captains of our Money Pirates. Thank you, Captain. Then, List turned his attention to a familiar figure and said. Michelin, you will be the head chef of our Money Pirates from now on, and you will be in charge of the kitchen. Michelin's cooking skills are very good, but his skills are not good. Therefore, its status in the kitchen is not high. There were 2 people holding him down in front of him. Now, List has Michelin as the chef, which is not without the idea of benevolence. After all, entrance stuff. It is better to be more cautious. Now that he promotes Michelin, those 2 chefs will definitely become jealous of Michelin. As long as he wants to make progress, as long as he wants to be consistent in the kitchen, he must rely on List. Only in this way can he use List's power to suppress the 2 of them. Otherwise, it would be difficult for him to deal with the other 2. Yes, thank you for the promotion, Captain. Michelin did not expect that he would be promoted to head chef all of a sudden. Surprised, he quickly bowed to List and thanked him. List nodded. Then, he looked at the man guarding the warehouse. May I have your name? Captain, my name is AFU. AFU, right. You can return to the battle order from now on. The treasury will be under Nami's control from now on. List said. Everyone was silent for a while after hearing this. Just now, when they were cleaning the corridor and captain's cabin, they heard the sound of gunfire coming from Andre's room, the deputy captain's room next door. I also know that there is an extra woman on the ship for some reason. And this woman is still their sister-in-law. Therefore, no one dared to raise objections. The man named Afu also responded helplessly, Hi. Okay, that's all I have to say. Today is the day our Money Pirates were established. Everyone has forgotten those unpleasant things. Let's continue eating and drinking. If we don't drink, we won't return. Quote. Roar. When everyone heard List's words, they immediately felt no longer sleepy. Everyone cheered on the spot. Whoever you follow is not following. As long as the party can go on. The rest simply doesn't matter. Michelin, wait a minute, make some delicious food and send it to me in the vice captain's dormitory. List said. Hi. At the beginning of the banquet, List played with everyone for a while and realized that everyone was a little reluctant to let go in front of him, so he found an excuse and left. Anyway, he didn't want to really have a heart-to-heart with this group of pirates. This group of people are just cannon fodder for him to reach the peak of his life. Perhaps, when they show enough potential, he might consider making friends with this group of people. List pushed open the vice captain's dormitory and found Nami devouring the delicious food sent by Michelin. "Weren't you having a banquet with them outside? Why are you back?" Nami raised his head and glanced at List, who walked in and continued eating without stopping. She had no choice but to leave without saying goodbye when List left. Because she has given List the most important thing in a woman's life as a bargaining chip. If she left, she would be at a loss. "When I was there, they couldn't let go, so they came back." List sat down, picked up a piece of bone meat and started to bite into it. "That's right," Nami nodded. "I know this situation all too well. There are too few pirate groups like the Straw Hat Pirates that have no levels and can be played together by everyone. It is normal for a pirate group like them to have different levels of hierarchy." "What are your plans next?" Nami asked. "So anxious." List glanced at Nami and joked. "Of course I'm anxious," Nami said matter-of-factly. "Have you got all the money?" List asked. "Not even close," Nami replied. "Then the next plan is simple. Make money and practice. 3 months at the latest and 1 month at the earliest. I can not only help you save enough money, but also increase your strength to the level of killing Arlong," List said. "As long as you have a plan." Nami nodded. The two of them chatted wordlessly. The food on the table was gradually wiped out by the two of them. List lifted Nami into his arms. "What are you doing?" Nami pushed List with a slight blush. List knows the taste of food and cannot refuse happy things. He did not answer Nami, picked her up and walked towards the bed. That night, in the dead of night, List, who was in the sage time, picked up the training notes of Bloodhammer Henry and the Madman Andre, as well as the training notes of their predecessors that they had collected. Study it carefully. Then, he wrote down his training plan for the next few months and his speculations on the development of devil fruit. Kui fruit can only accelerate the speed of movement. No, when I use the kui fruit, I can not only speed up my movement, but also speed up my nerve reaction speed. Conjecture based on the conceptual development of devil fruit. So can I use kui fruit to speed up my body's recovery and self-healing speed? Then can I use the kui fruit to speed up my thinking? I have decided, starting from tomorrow, I will test my conjectures one by one. List writes here. Close the notes. He walked to the bed and glanced at Nami, who had already fallen asleep. He lay down directly and hugged Nami, and they fell asleep beautifully together. The next day, List woke up early, after doing 500 Susan. Enjoyed the breakfast carefully prepared by Michelin. Then, he introduced Nami to all his subordinates and warned everyone that in his absence, everyone must listen to Nami. After helping Nami establish his authority, he returned to the captain's cabin alone. Began his experiment. First of all, the first thing he wants to develop is accelerated healing. I saw him pick up a dagger and slowly draw it on his finger. Blood quickly soaked from the wound. At this time, List began to accelerate the power of kui fruit to the wound. Puff! It turned out to be just a silent trickle of a small spring. As a result, under the acceleration of kui fruit, blood spurted out directly. Seeing this scene, List's face instantly turned blue. Quickly stop the blessing of kui fruit. No, it's not like that. I'm still too superficial. I just accelerated the power of kui fruit to the wound. I should speed up the power of kui fruit to deeper cell tissues. One morning passed. List pushed open the door to the captain's cabin with a pale face. He shouted angrily, "Bring me some meat." This loud shout. It spread to everyone's ears instantly. Keelan immediately directed everyone to get busy. It didn't take long. 10 5-pound plates of meat were brought to the captain's cabin. List picked up the bone skewers and started gobbling it up. At this moment, he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. It is still difficult to accelerate self-healing now. However, after a morning of experiments, I have a better understanding of the acceleration of kui fruit. If I apply the accelerating power of kui fruit to my intestines and stomach, can I speed up digestion? Quote. Thinking of this, List directly experimented. As List carefully manipulated the power of kue fruit to bless the intestines and stomach. In an instant, List clearly felt that his intestines and stomach were working rapidly. The meat I just ate seemed to be digested all at once. A strong feeling of hunger came. List quickly grabbed the bone skewers on the plate and started to bite into them. The more you eat, the more energetic you become. Originally, List could only eat 5 kilograms of meat at most, but he immediately consumed 10 plates, totaling 50 kilograms of meat. For a moment, List felt more satisfied than ever. The originally pale complexion also turned rosy. Extremely energetic. List opens cheat to check his situation. Finance owner. List. Physique. 2.3. Spirit. 1.2. Golden index. 0. It's strange. I obviously feel that my current condition is stronger than before, but why my data hasn't changed at all? Could it be that I didn't eat enough? List thought for a while. He also sent 10 plates of bones and skewers of meat. List speeds up digestion in the intestines and stomach while eating. After eating 10 more plates of meat, I felt like I had become stronger again. List opens cheat again. Finance owner. List. Physique. 2.3. Spirit. 1.2. Golden index. 0. Why is there still no change in the data? List frowned. Is it because the food I ate was too short? Although my spirit has been restored to its peak state, there is still not enough time to strengthen my body. That's how it should be. Kue fruit speeds up digestion. Although eating meat can make the body stronger, it needs to be accumulated over time. In addition, accelerating the digestion of the stomach and intestines will actually consume part of my physical strength. However, because I have been eating, the physical energy consumed has been replenished by meat. I just didn't notice. Therefore, only about 70% to 80% of the energy provided by a portion of meat is truly fully absorbed by me. If you want to become stronger by eating meat, you may not be able to do it in a short period of time. Quote. But even so, it's a big gain for me. Originally I wanted to develop accelerated self-healing. As a result, ultra-rapid digestion was developed. It's true that flowers planted with intention do not bloom, and willows planted without intention become shade. With the success story of super speed digestion, List is more confident in developing super speed self-healing and even super speed thinking. Time flies, and 3 days pass by in a flash. During these 3 days, List lives a very disciplined life. Every morning, I must get up earlier than everyone else. Complete 300 Susan seriously. Then, after eating Michelin's carefully prepared breakfast, we returned to the captain's cabin and started our own experiment. At this time, List once again cut a wound on his finger. After the blood soaked out, the power of kue fruit was manipulated to bless the healing cell tissue at the wound. I saw that the wound that had just been scratched began to heal rapidly. I succeeded. Haha, I succeeded. Super speed self-healing is very important for List's future development. Especially important for developing super speed thinking. Because he didn't know what the consequences would be if the power of kue fruit was added to his brain. However, super speed healing is his last guarantee, which can save his life. Super speed thinking is the ability that List values most. With it, he can develop the strongest moves in the shortest possible time and become a truly strong man. At this time, the development of super speed self-healing was successful. For him, it was undoubtedly halfway on the road to success. No wonder he was so happy. List walked out of the captain's cabin proudly. Walking to the vice captain's dormitory, he opened the dormitory and found that Nami was not inside at all. So he walked towards the deck. Soon I saw Nami lying on a beach chair. She was reading the newspaper, and there was a table next to her with a parasol in the middle. There was also a glass of juice and a fruit platter on the table. There is also a younger brother waiting not far away. It can be seen that Nami is quite comfortable at this time. List smiled faintly. He gestured to his younger brother who was not far away and walked towards Nami. That little brother is also a shrewd person. He quickly carried a beach chair and put it on the other side of the table. Then, he turned and walked into the kitchen. List sat down naturally and asked with a smile, "What news is worth paying attention to recently?" Nami was stunned, glanced at List, and said with a smile, "Why are you willing to come out of the captain's room? Have you successfully developed your secret technique? The development was successful. Let's rest for a few days before moving on to the next project. List said with high spirits. How is your secret skill? Can you open my eyes? Nami asked curiously. Coincidentally, at this time, the pirate boy brought a drink, a fruit platter and several fresh fruits, with a knife next to it. List glanced at Nami and said with a smile, "Okay, I'll let you see it." As he spoke, List picked up the knife from the tray. He scratched his palm. Blood quickly flowed out of his palms. What are you doing? Why are you hurting yourself when you are so good? Nami looked at this scene with some confusion. Watch it. List smiled disapprovingly. Then he manipulated the power of kue fruit to rush towards the healing tissue at the wound. Next moment, in Nami's eyes, List's newly opened palm healed rapidly at a speed visible to the naked eye. This. Nami opened her mouth with an incredible expression on her face. This move is called high-speed regeneration. How does it feel? It's so powerful. Nami couldn't help but exclaimed. Yeah, I think so too. List said with a proud smile. If I'm injured, can you use this ability to heal me? Nami asked curiously. Not yet. List shook his head and said. Not for now. So, it will be possible in the future. Nami asked again. Maybe. High-speed regeneration is derived from my kue fruit ability. The kue fruit belongs to Paramesha, and its power can only flow within my body and cannot affect external objects for the time being. However, when my fruit power awakens, I should be able to affect external objects. By then, maybe you can treat others, said List. That's it. Nami nodded in understanding. He added, although your healing abilities are good, you should focus more on developing some combat-type moves now. After all, your opponent is Arlong. Don't worry, there will be bread and milk, List said with a faint smile. Just as List and Nami were chatting without a word, the watchman on the watchtower suddenly shouted, Captain, a suspicious ship was found on the left front. Who is the other party? List raised his eyebrows. Unexpectedly, after staying in the captain's cabin for a few days, nothing happened, but as soon as I came out, something unexpected happened. Sorry, Captain, there is no flag on the other side's ship, and I can't figure out where the other side is coming from. The lookout replied truthfully. List stood up and walked to the side of the boat. Telescope. Soon, Johnson handed over the binoculars. List took the telescope and looked in the direction pointed by the observer's hand. Soon I saw a large ship that was 30 or 40 meters long, with black sails and no other features. I even saw the people on the boat. Judging from the faces of those people, they were not good people. He's not a pirate, but his work is probably no better than that of a pirate. The corners of List's mouth raised slightly. Send the ship over to me. Everyone, get ready for battle. Hi. When everyone heard List's words, they knew that there was going to be a big battle next, and they all prepared themselves for it. Nami, if you feel that such a scene will make you feel uncomfortable, you can go back to your room first. List turned to Nami and smiled. After all, I have been living in the sea for nearly 10 years, but I am not as fragile as you think. Nami rolled her eyes at List. Fine. List saw this and didn't force it. The big ship, which List renamed the Money, changed its direction and headed towards the black ship, breaking through the waves. At this time, the black ship seemed to have discovered the Money ship heading towards them. Without any hesitation, he turned the boat around and rushed towards Chinhaojung. When they saw us, they didn't dare to attack. It seems that the other party is not a soft persimmon. List smiled when he saw this. What he was afraid of was that the other party would just run away. It's too much trouble to catch up or something. The two ships headed in both directions. Soon we were within 2 kilometers. Johnson, kill him. Although the design of the Money number is not quite to List's liking, but the necessary configurations are still there. On the bow of the ship, a turret with 3 gun barrels was installed. Hi, Johnson responded. Immediately command his combatants and get busy. After the cannonball is installed, Johnson looked at List. Captain, everything is ready. Fire. List shouted with excitement. He had never played this before traveling through time. I haven't played it since time travel. In the past, when watching anti-Japanese dramas, I just thought that one day, like Li Yunlong, I would open my voice. Now the opportunity has finally come. Naturally, he wanted to experience it. Fire. Johnson repeated List's order. Fire. Boom. Chapter 11. 3 cannonballs came out of the chamber almost at the same time, flying towards the black ship 2 kilometers away. Unfortunately, it failed to hit the black ship. Instead, it landed near the black ship. The explosion caused water to splash on the black ship. A one-eyed man, holding a mace, looked at the pirate group ahead with a sinister expression. A mere pirate group with no bounty on his head dared to attack his slave ship. He must teach this blind pirate group a bloody lesson. Decided, just capture them all and sell them to the nobles. As the saying goes, what goes up leads to results. Because celestial dragons like to buy slaves. Therefore, nobles all over the world began to follow suit. Although, the East Blue slave catching industry is not as prosperous as the Grand Line. However, there are also many people engaged in it. One-Eyed Wolf is one of them. In fact, when the lookouts of the money pirates discovered them, they had already discovered the money. However, they did not want to conflict with the pirates, so they did not rush towards the money pirates first. If the Qianshan doesn't rush over, both sides will take your single plank bridge and I will take my Yangguan road. Do not interfere with each other. Result. After discovering them, the lookouts on the Qian rushed towards them. In this regard, it was impossible for the one-eyed wolf to pretend that he had not seen it and directly ask his subordinates to turn the bow of the ship and meet the money. Fight back, fire, the one-eyed wolf shouted. The cannon on the slave ship was also instantly ignited. Boom, just like the money cannot hit the black ship. Several cannonballs from the black ship failed to hit the money. However, after both sides opened fire, it won't stop so easily. Until 4 or 5 rounds of fighting. Then he stopped silently. No way, shells are very expensive. As the saying goes, when the cannon goes off, there is 1,000 taels of gold. There are not many cannonballs on either the money or the black ship, and it is impossible to use them all at once. Soon, the 2 ships connected. On board the money. All pirates are under the command of List. Throw out countless hooks and claws covered with hemp ropes. Hook the black ship firmly. As for the black ship, they may feel that as a slave catcher, they are not as good as the pirates in boarding and attacking, so the one-eyed wolf did not let his men attack. Instead, a defensive counterattack was adopted. Waiting for the attack of the money pirates. Everyone, kill me. List drew his katana and pointed it at the black ship. Brothers from the 1st Division, follow me. Johnson roared. He held a large spanner in one hand and a buckler in the other. Taking the lead, he stepped on the hemp rope and rushed towards the black ship. Brothers from the 2nd Division, follow me. Not to be outdone by Johnson, Rocky held a machete in one hand and a buckler in the other, stepping on the hemp rope and rushing towards the black ship. Kill. On the money ship, the other pirates looked at the 2 bosses as they pledged themselves. With high ambitions, they howled and rushed towards the black ship one by one. The moment Johnson and Rocky stepped onto the black ship in no particular order. Wolf Eyes Wolf decisively gave the order to fight back. Fire. Bang bang bang. Suddenly, countless gunshots rang out. Bullets were fired at Johnson and Rocky. The 2 quickly raised their round shields to resist. Ding ding ding. Those bullets hit the shield. Sparks flew for a moment. However, it did not hurt either of them at all. The 2 looked at each other. When the slave catcher paused in his first round of attacks, he suddenly threw out the round shield in his hand. 2 bucklers hit the traffickers with guns from different directions. For a time, the traffickers were beaten to the ground. The one-eyed wolf looked at this scene and his expression changed slightly. Such skill, such combat experience, not like a newbie at all. How could such a person appear in a pirate group with no bounty on his head? This makes no sense. Kill. But thinking about it, the one-eyed wolf's reaction was still very fast, and he immediately killed the 2 of them. At the same time, the axeman standing next to him saw that his boss had already attacked and rushed over at the same time. Johnson blocked the one-eyed wolf's attack immediately. Rocky blocked the other swordsman of the black ship. Following that, other pirates from the money pirates also rushed onto the black ship, and both sides quickly fought together. On board the money, List watched this scene coldly. Next to him, Nami couldn't help but ask, "Why don't you go over and help?" "It's not my turn yet," List said. List was not worried at all, as the pirates under his command suffered too many casualties. These people can only come in handy in this situation. If they died in such a battle, it would only mean that they were nothing more than that. If so, they all survive. This shows that their value is greater. By the time, it is not impossible to allocate some resources to cultivate some. The battle continues, but looking at the situation. Obviously, the strength of the money pirates is slightly stronger than that of the black ship. The one-eyed wolf is slightly better than Johnson. But it can't be done instantly. After pirates kept entering the black ship, Rocky rushed back and joined forces with Johnson to fight against the one-eyed wolf. A one-eyed wolf cannot defeat four hands with two fists. For a moment, he was suppressed by Johnson and Rocky. The other pirates hunted slaves against the master. Although it cannot be said to be a one-sided war. However, every time a slave catcher kills a pirate, at least one or two will die, or even three. As people hunted slaves, they were killed one after another. The one-eyed wolf couldn't hold back his anger and shouted loudly, "We have no grievances, why are you coming to cause trouble for us? We are pirates. We commit murder and arson. We do all kinds of evil and have no grievances. Why can't we cause trouble for you?" Johnson laughed as if he had heard some joke. The one-eyed wolf was so angry that his face was livid. However, the situation is stronger than the people. When it's time to be cowardly, you have to be cowardly. The one-eyed wolf spoke again. "In this battle, our Blackwater slave-catching group has surrendered. I can compensate you fellow pirates a sum of money. How about we just give up?" "Silly, if I kill you, the money on your ship will still be ours." Chang Lin sneered. He waved the big wrench in his hand with all his strength. Knocked the one-eyed wolf back several times. At this time, Rocky next to him seized the opportunity. The knife struck hard at Du Yandu's neck. The one-eyed wolf was startled and quickly raised his arms to block it. There was a sharp metallic crash. The one-eyed wolf's metal arm guard was split open by Rocky on the spot. The blade penetrated deep into the one-eyed wolf's arm. Blood soaked out like crazy. At this time, Johnson once again hit the one-eyed wolf on the head with a spanking strike. The one-eyed wolf's skull cracked instantly and he died on the spot. At this time, List stepped on the hemp rope and stepped onto the black ship. "Slave catchers and human traffickers, your leader has been killed. Surrender without killing. Surrender without killing." The pirates heard List shout and started shouting too. Those human traffickers, hearing the shouts of the pirates, still had the desire to fight. His fighting spirit was shattered. One by one they chose to surrender. List saw all the slave catchers put down their weapons and chose to surrender. He said to Rocky next to him, "Take them aside." "Hi," Rocky responded. The pirates who led the second team took all the surrendered traffickers aside. "Let's harvest our spoils," List said to Johnson. "Hi." Johnson led a team of people and rushed into the cabin to launch a large-scale search. At this time, Nami also walked over and said with some expectation, "I wonder how much money is on this slave ship. There should be quite a few of them. Traffickers are actually quite wealthy," List said with a smile. "I'll go in and look for it too." Nami felt itchy after hearing this, and wanted to take action herself to enjoy the fun. "Go if you want. However, if you find Bailey, you must leave it to me," List said nonchalantly. "Got it." Nami knew List's situation, so he didn't have any extreme reaction. After responding, he walked into the cabin. List asked for a chair. "Just sit on the deck and wait for the results." Not long after, boxes of stuff were moved out. It took almost 20 minutes to move. "Captain, we collected a total of 8 million Baileys and 20 kilograms of gold. In addition to these, there are also..." Johnson stood in front of List and reported to him the harvest this time. "Although it didn't meet my expectations, it's okay." List nodded. "Send all Bailey to my room and give the gold to Nami." "Where are the Nami people?" List didn't see Nami's figure and couldn't help but ask. "Sister Nami is still in the cabin. 32 slaves are still detained on the bottom floor of the black ship. Among them, 12 are women. Sister Nami was talking to them." "I don't know the specific content very well," Johnson replied. 12 female slaves. You haven't touched them before, have you?" List glanced at Johnson and the others suspiciously. No. There were 2 younger brothers who wanted to move, but Sister Nami arrived in time, so they didn't make a move," Johnson explained quickly. "Okay." Come with a few people and take these things back to the money. You take a few people down and bring those slaves to the deck. List said. Hi, Johnson responded, leading a few pirates into the cabin again. Several other pirates skillfully hoisted the boxes to the ropes, and then slid them one by one onto the money. Then, go back to the money and move those boxes to where they belong. List didn't wait long. Johnson and Nami took the 32 slaves to the deck of the black ship. Especially the 12 female slaves, who were led by Nami at the front. With so many people standing together, the space on the deck seemed a little crowded for a while. List stood high on the bow. Consider these people. Especially the 12 female slaves. All of them look very good. However, if you think about it, if these girls were ugly, the slave catchers would not catch them at all. Maybe when they meet, it will be a direct blow. They can attract the attention of slave captors. It has been proven that they all have a certain beauty. Soon, List also discovered a pair of twins from these 12 girls. They were about 15 or 16 years old. They were young, beautiful, and very touching. Ahem. List looked away. Clearing his throat, he smiled softly and said, "Does any of you want to go home?" Those slaves' eyes couldn't help but light up when they heard List's words. Among them, a man in his early 30s immediately emerged from the group of slaves and knelt down in front of List. He begged loudly, "Master Captain, I want to go home. I haven't seen my family for half a year. I miss them." "What's your name, what do you do, and why were you caught here?" List asked. "My name is Charles. I am a musician. I used to travel around the country with a music group to perform. I just went out alone once and was put in a sack by them." The 30-year-old man said sadly. What a sad story. After hearing this, List couldn't help but feel sad for him. "Okay, I'll give you a small boat, 50 pounds of grain, and a bucket of water. I hope you can return to your hometown and reunite with your family." List laughed. The expression on Charles's face froze. Something is wrong. You want to be a good person. Shouldn't you be a good person and go to the end and send me back directly? You actually let me drive a small boat back by myself. This kind captain. Did I hear wrongly? Charles looked at List innocently. You heard that right. I can provide you with a small boat, 50 pounds of meat, and a bucket of water to allow you to return to your hometown. How about that? Are you very touched? List smiled. No, Captain, shouldn't you send me back? Musician Charles said. When did I promise to take you home? List looked at Charles and said. Captain, you are a good man. If you are willing to let us go, then a good man will do it to the end and send me back. It is difficult for me to get home alone on this vast sea. Please, Charles pleaded again and again. Rowed. A good person should be pointed at a gun. List laughed angrily on the spot. Pointing to the flag flying on the money, he said, Look, this is the pirate flag. I am a real pirate. I kindly let you go, so you should be snickering. How dare you ask me to take you home in person? Aren't you afraid that after I arrive in your hometown, I will directly loot your hometown? Quote. I don't care, you have to send me back. Charles stood up suddenly with red eyes and stared at List. Since you gave us hope, you must be responsible for us to the end. Kill. List glanced at this guy and said softly. Hearing this, Johnson walked towards Charles. What do you want to do? Chuckle looked at Johnson getting up and took a few steps back in fear. However, Johnson didn't bother to pay attention. A wrench hit him directly on the head. Boom. Charles's skull was directly smashed and he died on the spot. Then, Johnson held Charles's body in one hand, walked to the side of the boat, and threw it directly. Simply, brutally, cruelly. All the slaves couldn't help but shudder when they saw this scene. Many of the slaves were similar to Charles, and they all fantasized about having List personally send them back through moral kidnapping. But, with Charles's death, they sobered up. List is not someone they can kidnap using morality. Although he occasionally shows kindness, he is still just a pirate in the end. Does anyone still want to leave now? Let me make it clear first, if you want to leave, I will give you a small boat, 50 pounds of meat, and a bucket of water. As for those who fantasize about letting me send you back in person, please be clear-headed. I am a pirate. I am already showing great kindness by letting you go. Don't even think about anything else. Quote. List explained again and again. When the slaves heard this, they looked at each other again. Only this time, after a long time, no one stood up and chose to leave. Does anyone still want to leave? This is the last reminder. If you don't want to leave, then all of you have to join my money pirates. List said. However, the scene was silent. No one stood up, and no one said a word. It seems that it is more dangerous and terrifying for a person to leave in a small boat than to stay in the pirate group. However, it is what it is. If you stay here, you will be forced to become a pirate. But, get out of here. None of them had the confidence to reach the next island with a small boat, 50 pounds of grain, and a bucket of water. There are too many surprises and unknowns along the way. They don't dare to gamble at all. I can only silently accept the fate arranged by List. Okay, since no one wants to leave, then from today on, all of you are members of my money pirates. List saw that no one said a word. Immediate decision. Nami, these 12 girls will be handed over to you to lead from now on. List said. Okay. Nami's eyes lit up and she nodded quickly. These girls are divided under her command. Then it would be easier for her to protect these 12 girls. When the 12 girls heard this, their eyes lit up. Being assigned to Nami's command, the score would be much better elsewhere. Just now, they had a brief contact with Nami. Nami made a very good impression on them. Now they become Nami's subordinates and are protected by Nami. They should not have to worry about it in the future. For the rest, do you have any special skills? For example, playing the piano, blacksmithing, brewing, medical skills, etc., you can name them. I will make independent arrangements for you. If not, then you can only be divided into 2 combat divisions. Fighter, said List. Among these 20 slaves, not all are just handsome, there are also a few who have special skills. They were all arranged independently by List. The remaining pretty boys were eventually assigned to 2 combat divisions by List. After getting rid of the slaves here, List looked at the surrendered slave catchers again. These surrendered slave catchers had the right to choose here in List, and List would not let them go. Instead, they were directly divided into 2 combat divisions and let Johnson and Rocky train them well. At this point, the number of people in each of the 2 divisions has reached 35. Just looking at the number of people, the strength of the money pirates has at least tripled. After dealing with these slaves and slave catchers, List asked everyone to conduct a general cleaning of the money and the newly appointed black gold. Afterwards, all members of the 2 combat squads were transferred to the black ship. And asked Picasso to draw the pattern of the money pirates on the sail of the black ship and tie the pirate flag on it. And all 12 girls moved to the Kyonchin. At this point, there are only 3 men on board the money except List. Among them, one is Michelin. He is the head chef of the money pirates, but he is only responsible for the food for a dozen people on the money pirates. The other 2 chefs were transferred to the black gold by List, responsible for the meals for the 70 or 80 people. The other 2 men, one is responsible for the logistics management of the money pirates, and is considered a butler-type figure. One is responsible for running errands, contacting, etc. That night, aboard the Black Gold banquet, List stood on the bow of the ship. Today, our money pirates have expanded once again, adding another ship. But this will definitely not be the final form of our money pirates. The money pirates will expand in the future. At that time, there will be a 3rd ship, a 4th ship, and up to the 100th ship. The money pirates divisions will also be huge, 100 people, 1,000 people, 10,000 people, the 1st division, the 2nd division, the 3rd division, the 50th division. Therefore, you should all work hard, try your best to catch up with me, and follow me to the top step by step. Share the prosperity of this world with me. A pie is drawn, big and round, very tempting. Everyone in the 2 divisions was as excited as if they had been given a shot of blood. Long live the captain. Cheers to our dreams. Cheers. List and everyone simply had a few drinks and then left. Without him, those pirates seemed to be playing more crazily and unscrupulously. Back to the money number. Nami and the 12 girls were also celebrating on the deck, not only to celebrate their escape from slavery and their new life, but also to celebrate their joining the money pirates. When the girls saw List returning, they all stood up. Master Captain, sit down, all sit down. From now on, we are partners on the same boat, no need to be so restrained. List tried his best to look more friendly and said with a smile. Hi. The 12 girls responded, but they still couldn't help being in awe of List in their hearts. List knew their situation well. I also know that this awe cannot be resolved in a short time. Therefore, he is not in a hurry. He walked over to Nami and sat down. He smiled gently and said, I don't know your names yet, can you tell me your names? The 12 girls looked at each other, a little nervous. They are all waiting for the first person to stand up and introduce themselves. They follow the trend easily. At this time, Nami spoke. Let me introduce it to you. Okay, List smiled. The 12 girls also secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Nami understands List. Long before, she had discovered that the way List looked at the twin sisters was different from the way he looked at other girls. So, she started directly with the twins and introduced them to List. This is my sister named Yulin, and this is my sister named Jingxiang. While introducing, Nami pointed out to List which of them was the elder sister and which was the younger sister. List's insight is great. The two sisters are very similar though. However, he still found some differences between the two. Sister Wei Ji Lengxin gives people a very natural and real feeling. The younger sister's eyes are bright, exuding an aura of innocence, and also gives people a sense of cuteness and cuteness. Yulin Shizuka. What a name, List praised. The two sisters blushed slightly when they heard List's praise. Nami continued to introduce others to List. Among the 12 girls, apart from Orchid Shizuka, the two who impressed List the most were one with red eyes and the other with long purple hair. Listen to Nami's introduction. The girl with red eyes was not actually caught by slaves, but was sold by her parents. Because her parents thought her eyes were naturally red, which was unlucky, and she was also very edible. That kind of people. In their original family, they were simply a burden. So, on the day of Chitong's 15th birthday, her parents prepared a roast chicken for her. At that time, she was very happy, thinking that her parents finally accepted her. However, after she finished eating the chicken, she fainted. Later, she learned from the slave catcher that she was sold by her biological parents for only 100,000 belly in total. The purple-haired girl gave List a feeling of being both natural and neurotic. It doesn't matter if he doesn't think deeply about it. There are two people, one is named Hongmei and the other is Xiaozi. List heard their names and felt that such names were not worthy of their appearance and temperament. Therefore, I directly changed their names. The red-eyed girl was renamed Chitong, and the purple-haired girl was renamed Hill. The two heard List change their names. He didn't resist and accepted it happily. Afterwards, List chatted with these girls for a long time. In front of him, these girls were similar to other pirates, very restrained. When he felt bored, he went back to the vice-captain's dormitory. I don't know how long it took. Nami came back and found that List was still reading the practice notes of his predecessors. He couldn't help but laugh and asked, "Why aren't you asleep yet?" "Waiting for you. Wait until I do something. If you feel sleepy, just go to sleep," Nami said with a slight blush on her pretty face. "That's not possible. The time we have known each other is too short. We need to communicate in some special ways to quickly deepen our relationship." List smiled, walked towards Nami, and hugged her directly. Nami rolled her eyes at List. No rejection. The lights flickered all night, and the figures met. Time flies, and a few days pass. On this day, List finally began to study super speed thinking. During this time, List gained a deeper understanding of Kuaikuaiguo. Relying on his understanding of Kuaikuai fruit, he carefully manipulated the power of Kuaikuai fruit into a certain level of his brain. Buzz. In an instant, List seemed to have entered a magical realm. He felt his brain became more flexible. Even many things that had been forgotten before came to mind one by one at this moment. At this time, List picked up a book on the bookshelf and started reading. One glance, 10 lines at a glance, and a photographic memory. List turned the pages of the book faster and faster. Just under 5 minutes, he flipped through a book with more than 100 pages, and all the knowledge recorded in the book was engraved in his heart and thoroughly digested. List suppressed the joy in his heart and picked up another book. Flip through and read. 4 minutes later, the books were turned over again. The contents of the book were once again remembered by him and used for his own use. List took another one. This time, He flipped through the book in 3.5 minutes, and all the knowledge was clear to him. List became more and more interested as he read and couldn't stop at all. He picked up a new book and read it again. However, this time, he only read less than half of it. Suddenly, a wave of dizziness came. Then, he exited from the overclocking state. A feeling of nausea came over him, making him want to vomit, and his dizziness became even stronger. He knew that this was a reaction after overusing his brain. At the same time, the body also sent signals of weakness and hunger. List quickly opened the door to the room and shouted, "Bring me the meat quickly." With previous experience, List asked Michelin to prepare a large amount of meat early. List's shout was heard. 12 girls walked in quickly, each carrying a plate of meat. At this time, List didn't care about pretending to be a gentleman in front of the girl. He picked up a bone and skewered the meat and started to bite it. A piece of meat weighing 5 kilograms was devoured in just a few strokes. After eating the meat, List immediately controlled the kue fruit to speed up gastrointestinal digestion. After the body is replenished, List feels that all negative symptoms have lessened. After that, List became even more rude, gobbling up the meat sent by the girls and quickly destroying it all. Come again. The girls sent it back and forth several times, and nearly 500 kilograms of meat went into List's belly. After speeding up his digestion, List patted his plain belly and laughed. One day the rock rises with the wind and soars 90,000 miles away. I can only maintain the overclocking state for about 15 minutes. After 15 minutes, I started to feel dizzy, nauseous and vomiting. My mental strength is not strong enough. In the future, we must also improve our mental strength. Quote. After List made a summary. He also asked Michelin to prepare a large amount of meat and desserts for him. He started a new round of experiments. Overclocking mode. List named this state overclocking mode. A buzzing sound. The mind is running at high speed again. List began to summarize the evolution and integration of his knowledge. Then, further civilize the ultra-rapid digestion. This ability is very important. After this ability was accidentally developed by him, he had imagined that he would develop this ability into an ability similar to the Liuku Immortal Thief. Devouring everything to make up for the life force he lost using high-speed regeneration, super speed thinking. The way of heaven damages more than it can make up for, and the way of man cannot make up for the damage. After integrating the knowledge of the two worlds, you will have a deeper understanding of the digestive functions of the 6 fu organs. You have carried out a more comprehensive optimization of overspeed digestion. You have strengthened your overspeed digestion to a deeper level. You connect the 6 organs into one and incorporate them into the super speed digestive system. There is slight damage to your internal organs. You used high-speed regeneration to heal the damage to the 6 internal organs. 6 fu organs are overspeed integrated. You have realized the second speed super speed digestion, and you name it the Liuku Immortal Thief. Puff. At the moment List raised the speed of digestion to the second level. There was a strong backlash in the body. Bleeding from 7 holes. Soreness in limbs. Feeling dizzy and hungry. Bring me the meat. List couldn't care less about anything else. With a trembling voice, he shouted loudly. Less than a minute. The 12 girls who had been waiting for a long time came in immediately carrying meat and desserts. List devoured it without any regard for the image. In a few clicks, half of the meat and desserts were stuffed into his stomach. Continue, List said to the girl who had no meat or dessert on the plate. Then, he moved on the remaining half. That's it for almost 7 or 8 rounds. List just stopped, after sending away all the maids. List felt her body quietly. Mentally and physically, everything is restored to its peak state. It gave him an unprecedented sense of comfort. Although the Immortal Thief of Liuku is just a new creation, its digestion speed is 3 times that of before. Moreover, it also has the function of refining essence. The extracted essence will flow to all parts of my body to make up for the damage everywhere. It can even replenish the lost vitality. This level of digestion capacity is enough for my current needs. If you want to continue to develop the 3rd level of super speed digestion and continue to improve the Rokuku Immortal Thief, I am afraid you need to awaken the Haki of the Haki. Quote. In that case, then let's focus on strengthening our attack power. Time flies. Another week has passed. During this time, List developed new attack moves based on what he saw in the previous world and the practice notes written by some predecessors in this world. While practicing, not only must your brain be able to do it, but your body must also be able to do it. This day, List is having breakfast with Nami. Schindler, who was in charge of logistics, came over and said, "Captain, we don't have much food reserves anymore. I remember that several warehouses were full of food before. The Black Gold's warehouse was also 80% full. With our food, it should be enough to feed 100 people for a month and a half. How come it has only been so long now that we are running out of food?" List frowned and looked at Schindler with some displeasure. Schindler felt a little aggrieved and hesitated to speak. If it were anyone else, he would definitely not be like this, but would directly curse. However, the person opposite him was List, the captain of the money pirates. He didn't dare to do that. "Why are you hesitating? If you have something to say, just say it." List looked at Schindler's expression and said coldly, "Captain, we did have enough food before. The reason why we ran out of food is because, Captain, you have eaten too much recently. Not counting the 5 or 6 restaurants a day, I ate over 1,000 kilograms in one meal." "So, okay, I get it." List interrupted Schindler with a look of embarrassment. At this time, he finally remembered. These days, in order to develop new skills and moves, he eats freely. He consumes more food every day than Nami does in a year. Since the blame is yours, you can't blame others. How much food is left and enough to last us for how many days? List asked again. "Captain, if you continue to eat like before, you can only last for 3 days at most." Schindler had already kept this number in mind and immediately gave the answer. 3 days is too short. It is not easy to encounter a ship in the vast sea. If we are planning to land on the island, 3 days may not be enough. If I save a little on food, well, if I only eat 1 or 200 pounds a day, how long can I last?" said List. "If that's the case, we can last about 6 or 7. Okay, starting from today, I will live frugally," List said. Quote. The corner of Nami's mouth twitched. She had never heard that eating 1 or 200 kilograms of grain a day was called frugality. For a time, she had gained a lot of experience. "Okay, it's none of your business. You can go down. If you encounter this kind of situation in the future, tell me as soon as possible," List said. "Hi," Schindler responded and retreated. "Nami, how far is it from the nearest island? We must replenish food as soon as possible." List looked at Nami. Nami is a talented navigator. No one knows how to find islands better than she does. Old pirates like Johnson can't compare. I estimate that it will take at least 4 or 5 days to get to the nearest island." Nami pondered for a moment and then said, "Okay, now the fleet will be left to you to command." List smiled. After Nami was silent for a moment, he looked at List and asked, "After we land, will we directly start burning, killing and looting the island?" "What are you thinking? Although I am a pirate and have no bottom line, I can't do this kind of thing. We buy with real money," List said solemnly to Nami. When Nami heard this, her smile spread instantly. He hugged List's neck and kissed him hard on the face. "List, I knew you were not that kind of person." "Of course they are. Although we burn, kill and loot, we still choose our targets. To wield a butcher's knife at ordinary people and steal food from them not only makes us look low-end, but also lacks structure. The world's wealth is divided into 20% and 80%, with 20% of the wealth occupied by nobles and rich people, and 80% of common people only occupy 20% of the wealth. We want to rob the rich and the aristocrats." Quote. List hugged Nami's slender waist, kissed her back and smiled. "In that case, leave the rest of the voyage to me," Nami said. "Yes." List nodded and then smiled. "After we replenish the food, it's time to kill Arlong." "Are you sure you can deal with Arlong now?" Nami was slightly startled and asked worriedly. "Of course," List messaged with a smile. After Nami was silent for a moment, he smiled and said to List, "I believe you. Don't worry, Nami, I will cut off your nightmares with my own hands." List rubbed Nami's head and smiled. Nami heard the words and did not respond. Instead, she leaned on List's chest and listened to List's strong heartbeat. Sometimes having someone to rely on is so reassuring. Time flies. Another 5 days passed. Although these 5 days, List made all the watchers stand out. If you encounter a ship, report it immediately. As a result, for 5 days, they failed to encounter a passing ship. To this, List could only place his hope of replenishing food on the islands he would land on next. I don't know how long it took. List slept in a beach chair on the deck. Suddenly, from the observation deck, a clear and exciting voice came. "Captain, we found an island ahead." Chitong, who acted as a lookout, shouted from the observation deck. List suddenly woke up. "Look around. I found Nami standing on the bow of the boat, holding a telescope in her hand." Immediately, he walked over. "Find the island." "I found it, but it's not a big island with bustling business, but a small island with only some people," Nami said. "As long as it's an island, there's no need to force anything else," List said disapprovingly. "I'm just afraid that they don't have much food there. They won't be able to meet our purchasing needs," Nami said. "Don't be unfounded." List rubbed Nami's head. He knew that Nami was worried in case the food on the island could not meet the needs of their money pirates. As a result, they were unable to hold on to their bottom line and started grabbing directly. In this regard, List can only tell her through actions what it means to keep one's word. As the pirate group gradually approached the island, List repeatedly emphasized to all the pirates what they were forbidden to do after landing. At the same time, on the island, a figure with a long nose was running in a panic, shouting, it's not good, big guy, the pirates are coming, the pirates are coming. Usopp, you liar is here again, get out of here." At this time, someone came out with a broom to drive him away. "This time, what I said is true, big guy, pirates are really coming." The long-nosed boy had a very sincere attitude and was shouting hysterically. Unfortunately, no one wanted to believe him. Because he told too many lies in the past. Everyone has been deceived too many times. Now, no matter what he says, no one wants to believe him. "Get out of here. If you don't leave, I will really whip you." As he said that, the man used a broom to scare the long-nosed boy. Then he turned and left. Others only glanced at it. They all turned around and dispersed. Why don't you believe what I say? Everything I say is true." The young man screamed unwillingly. Then he smiled bitterly and laughed at himself. "It seems that I have told too many lies over the years and can no longer be trusted. But this time, the pirates are really here. There are 2 large ships with more people than they can count. What should we do now? Since they don't believe me, I can only take care of myself first." Long Nose said for a long time that he was about to run away alone, but soon he stopped again. "Wait, Kaya, there is Kaya, I have to inform Kaya first." Muttering to himself, the long-nosed boy ran towards the largest villa in the center of Zybro Island. Kaya, no luck, pirates are coming. However, he did not meet Kaya, whom he longed for, but was blocked by a man wearing a black suit, glasses and a slicked back hair. "Usopp, you think that lying to those villagers can no longer satisfy your low-interest desires, right? You actually dare to come here and run wild." Kaya's butler, Crabiter, pushed up his glasses with his palms, his eyes full of Usopp. Of contempt and disdain. "Butler Crabiter, this time, what I said is true. I saw 2 pirate ships approaching our island with my own eyes. Please take Kaya away quickly, otherwise, it will be too late." Usopp said sincerely, said earnestly. Clobetel is just a name in disguise. In fact, he is a famous pirate in the East Blue, known as Baiji Crow. The bounty is higher than Buggy. He is a man who is good at calculation and observation. Looking at Usopp's expression and reaction, it didn't look like he was joking. He frowned. "You said there are 2 pirate ships heading towards the island?" Crow asked. "Yes." Usopp nodded affirmatively. "You better not lie to me, otherwise. If I lie, I'm at your disposal," Usopp quickly answered. Crow believed Usopp's words even more. "I cursed in my heart. There are pirates visiting this remote place. There are really all kinds of pirates." Then, he turned around and walked towards the big villa. "Crabatel, what happened?" Kaya asked after Crow entered the villa. Usopp ran over and said that a pirate group is coming, and they are pirates in 2 ships. Crow explained the situation directly. "Haha, Crabatar, you must have believed Usopp's words. Didn't you hate Usopp the most in the past? You felt that none of his words were true. The second housekeeper, Mary, laughed first when he heard this. But I don't think his expression was lying, and he also asked me to take Miss Kaya and run away. Although he loves to lie, he seems to care about Miss Kaya very much, and there is no reason for him to play tricks on Miss Kaya. After all, once his lie is exposed, he may be disgusted by Miss Kaya. Crow said. So, is it true that the pirates are coming? Melly suddenly became a little uneasy. Kaya next to her also panicked. Krabattle, what should we do now? Kaya panicked and looked at Crow quickly. At this critical moment, he, the great butler, seemed more reliable. Miss Kaya, why don't we run away first, and then come back after the storm has passed? As the saying goes, if you keep the green hills, you won't have to worry about running out of firewood. Melly suggested. However, Crow rejected Mary's proposal and said, the other party has 2 pirates. If the other party comes with the idea of catching them all, they will definitely leave one ship to patrol the sea to prevent anyone from escaping. It might be difficult for us to escape now. Now, what we can do is to gather all the villagers together to fight against those pirates. Quote, Krabatell, what you said makes sense. It is absolutely impossible to escape at this time. Let's face it, Krabatar, you and I will mobilize all the villagers. Melly, take half of your bodyguards to determine the location of the pirates and report their situation at any time. After all, Kaya is the daughter of a wealthy family, and she still has some abilities. Although she was frightened and panicked just now, when she came to her senses, she was still able to make decisions. Okay, Miss Kaya. Hearing this, Mary nodded in agreement without hesitation, and then solemnly said to Crow. Krabattle, Miss Kaya will be left to you. Don't worry, I will keep an eye on Miss Kaya, and no one will hurt her even once I fall down. Crow responded solemnly. Afterwards, Mary ordered half of the bodyguards to go out. He spotted Usopp on the way, and walked with Usopp in the direction of the money pirates. Miss Kaya, it's time for us to leave, Crow said. Good. Afterwards, Kaya and Crow walked towards the village with the other half of the bodyguards. Dong dong dong. Kaya and Crow walked to the center of the village and sounded the gong. At the same time, all the bodyguards were sent out to notify some residents who were far away from the center of the village. The villagers of Zybro village opened their doors one by one and walked onto the street. Walk towards the center of the village. How is this going? It seems that Miss Kaya summoned us for something. Then what are you waiting for? Come quickly. Kaya is different from Usopp. Usopp loves to talk nonsense and is a marginalized character. The villagers would not take him seriously at all. Kaya, on the other hand, comes from a well-known family and has a decisive influence in Zybro village. Everyone needs to look up to her, and no one dares to ignore her. Their appeal is naturally different. Soon, all the villagers in Zybro village gathered in the center of the village. Kaya glanced at Crow. Seeing Crow nodding, suddenly, he said loudly, Everyone, the reason why we are summoned is because pirates are going to invade our Zybro island. What about Na? When the villagers of Zybro village heard what Kaya said, they were in an uproar. Many people even looked panicked. Their island is remote. No pirate has passed by in more than 10 years. Unexpectedly, the pirates actually came today. Just now Usopp was shouting in the village that pirates are coming. Unfortunately, this guy usually likes to lie. We all thought he was lying like before, but we didn't expect it to be true. This kid is addicted to lying and almost cost everyone's lives. Look back and see how I deal with him. Now, what should I do? Miss Kaya, since you summoned us, you should have a way to help us get through this difficulty. Everyone, Zybro village belongs to all of us. Our families, our parents, brothers, sisters and children are here. Each of us has the responsibility to protect our land. Only by uniting together can we defeat the pirates. So, here, I implore everyone to do your part to protect our common home. Kaya said sincerely. Finally, he bowed to everyone. When the villagers of Zybro village heard Kaya's words, they all became excited. Miss Kaya is right. Zybro village is where our ancestors have lived for generations. Behind us are our parents, brothers, sisters and children. How can we retreat at this time? Miss Kaya, I am willing to retreat with you. Pirates. We do too. Miss Kaya, please wait a moment. I'll go back and get something that fits my needs, and then we'll go kill the enemy with you. I am coming too. Soon, all the villagers ran home, picked up those who could fight, and joined Kaya. Some of these people were holding hoes, some were holding fishing hairpins, and some were holding axes and broadswords. It seems like that's the case. If they encounter some weak pirates, they may not be able to repel the pirates if they work together. At this time, a bodyguard hurried over. Miss Kaya, the pirates have entered the sea area 500 meters away from Zybro village and are about to land. Kaya glanced at Krabaddle. Seeing Krabaddle nodding, he felt certain. Then he opened his mouth and said loudly, "Everyone, follow me." Soon, Kaya led 300 villagers and rushed towards the direction where the money pirates were planning to land. In the original work, the beach where the Straw Hat crew landed. The money and black gold stopped about 50 meters away from the coast. Because, go forward, the ship is about to run aground on the beach. Bang bang bang. A dozen small rowing boats were lowered into the sea. List took Nami, Chitong and Hill and jumped on a boat. The other 10 girls jumped onto the other 2 boats. Stroked towards the perimeter. The remaining boats were contracted by Johnson's brothers who led the first squadron. Rocky and his second team were responsible for guarding the money and black gold. The boat docked. List stepped onto the beach for the first time. This is the first time he has traveled ashore. Although the sand is soft, it is very solid. List's mood couldn't help but fluctuate. Sure enough, land is better. After List sighed, he looked around and took a few steps forward. Bang! A stone struck List at his feet. Shoot a small crater in the sand. At the same time, a voice came from the jungle not far away. Pirates ahead. This is the territory of our Usopp pirates, you are not allowed to move forward. List was slightly startled. Then he smiled casually. I thought I was there, but it turned out that I was here. In this way, I don't have to worry about food issues. Quote, the residents here are not short of food supplies, and there is also a large family living on the island. There is also a cunning pirate lurking in the wealthy family. As long as he helps the rich girl solve that trouble, I think she won't be stingy with some food. With the money pirate's strong martial arts, it shouldn't be possible. Do you know this place? Nami walked up to List and asked. That's right, there are some interesting guys here. List smiled faintly. Then, he ignored Usopp's warning and continued to move up a few steps. Boom! At this time, a gunshot fired into the sky. List stopped. He raised his head and looked towards the dense forest not far away. I warned you not to move forward. Do you think Captain Usopp, who has 800 soldiers, is kidding you? Usopp's pretentious voice came from the forest again. List and the others are not Luffy's group. 8 million is too fake to scare them at all. 800 is very real. If you dare to use a gun, it seems that you are ready to risk your life with me. List said in a cold voice. Behind List, Johnson and other pirates showed off their weapons. In an instant, a chilling air spread. Usopp had seen this kind of situation before, and he was so scared that he peed on the spot. Usopp, calm down. Miss Kaya will bring everyone here soon. We must resist and hold them back now, Mary said in Usopp's ear. But, I'm scared, Usopp said, his legs shaking. Now when you prove that you are a man, you must not show any flaws. Miss Kaya really likes your adventure stories, and you don't want to disappoint Miss Kaya, Mary said quickly. In fact, his legs were shaking too. Therefore, he could only push Usopp out and provide support by himself. Okay, I'll hold on a little longer. When Usopp heard Kaya's name, he mustered up his courage and prepared to fight with List again. Riding my life, I, Captain Usopp, have killed not only 1,000 but also 800 people. Do you think I dare not risk my life with you? This is not the place you should be, so you should leave immediately. Quote, Superior, List didn't bother to talk nonsense to Usopp. Since he wants to play, let him see what a real pirate is like. Kill. Johnson has a buckler in one hand and a big wrench in the other. After hearing List's order, he launched a direct charge. And the 30 or so pirates behind him also rushed over. Usopp and Mary looked at this scene, completely dumbfounded. This is completely different from what they expected. The bodyguards around them reacted quickly. Seeing Johnson and others rushing over, they immediately grabbed Usopp and Melly and ran back. However, they were able to outrun Johnson and the others, and were soon surrounded by Johnson and the others. Several bodyguards wanted to resist. He was knocked to the ground directly by several spankers from Johnson. However, because List repeatedly emphasized that burning, killing, looting, and killing civilians were not allowed, they did not kill them directly. Surrender, we surrender. Usopp quickly knelt down and begged for mercy. Although Melly didn't speak, her feet were so frightened that she fell to her knees. Bring it here, List said to Johnson. Johnson and others carried Usopp and Melee towards List. Are you Captain Usopp with 800 soldiers? List looked at Usopp with a half smile. I'm not, he is. Usopp trembled and pointed at Mary. Snapped. List slapped him. I hate dishonest people the most. Usopp was almost crying and quickly admitted his mistake to List. I'm sorry, I was wrong, I am Usopp, sir, please spare me once. Who shot just now? List asked. Usopp glanced at Mary, then glanced at a bodyguard next to him, and said quickly, we didn't aim at people at the time, we fired empty guns into the sky. Captain, you are a master and don't care about the villain. Please forgive me. Let's. HMPH, if you had shot at us, do you think I would have spared your lives? List snorted coldly. Who put it there? Him. Usopp pointed helplessly at the bodyguard. My hand was smashed, List said. Johnson directly waved his big spank and was about to hit the bodyguard's right hand. At this time, a burst of dense footsteps came from a distance. At the same time, another voice came. Stop. Johnson looked up at List. List waved his hand, signaling for him to pause. He looked towards the island. More than 300 people came rushing over. Each one held a weapon in his hand. On the slope, a defensive line of 100 meters long was drawn out. At this time, Kaya came out under the protection of several bodyguards and Crow. Kaya glanced at Mary and Usopp with concern. I was secretly relieved to find that none of them were dead. Which pirate group are you from? Kaya asked. Tell them that we are from that pirate group. List said with a faint smile. Listen carefully, we are from the Money Pirates. Johnson led a group of pirates and shouted in unison. Money Pirates. Kaya's eyes were blank. She had never heard of this name at all. He couldn't help but ask Crow beside him. Krabatel, have you heard of this pirate group? I've never heard of it at all. It's probably a newly formed pirate group. However, those people are not simple. They probably killed a lot of people. Crow responded. Hearing this, Kaya restrained her feeling of contempt. Although I haven't heard much about this pirate group, there are many veterans in it. If a fight breaks out, I'm afraid the number of casualties will not be too few. Therefore, Kaya decided to communicate with List and the others first. Be polite before fighting. Spend some money to get them out. It really doesn't work. Then choose to use force to solve it. Sir, we don't welcome pirates as guests on Cibro Island. If you are short of money, I can give you 1 million. If you are short of food, I can give you 10,000 caddies of food. Please let Melee go. Usopp, how about they just retreat? Kaya said to List. Just now, List was the first to speak. Kaya naturally regarded him as the pirate leader. 1 million Baileys, 10,000 kilograms of grain. That's quite a feat. List then smiled and said, however, you have misunderstood. We are not here to rob. We are going to the island to spend real money and purchase supplies. Show them our funds. Hi, Chitong and Hill responded. Open the 2 bags they brought with them. From time to time, large areas of gold shine brilliantly under the sunlight. It dazzled many people. Many villagers in Zybro village couldn't help but swallow their saliva, with a greedy look in their eyes. There are 30 kilograms of gold here. If you have the supplies I need, this money will belong to you. Are you serious? Kaya was slightly stunned. She obviously didn't expect it either. List actually chose to exchange gold for supplies. Rather than plundering directly. Of course we are serious. Although we are pirates, we are also thorough and organized. We will not do things like burning, killing and looting as soon as we land. List said. Kaya heard this and half believed it, then looked at Crow. Krabatel, do you think I should believe his words? Crow thought for a while and said, Miss Kaya, although pirates are very cunning, there seem to be some people who are more disciplined. Maybe you can trust them for once. Anyway, with so many people here, we are not afraid of any tricks they may play. Quote. Crow said this not to speak for the pirates, but to get rid of the money pirates quickly. He doesn't want to fight at all now if he can avoid fighting. After all, fights can easily reveal the truth. That makes sense. Kaya nodded after hearing this. One more thing, Miss Kaya, we cannot keep this deal for ourselves. We can give half of it to the villagers. Only when the interests are tied will they be more willing to advance and retreat with us. Crow said. Krabart, you are right. We cannot keep this deal for ourselves. We must give half of it to the villagers. Although they don't have much money, they have a lot of food in their collection. We can let them earn a little, so that everyone can be happy. Kaya he nodded and followed the good path. Later, Kaya said to List, we can trade, but you have to release our people first. That's not okay, they have just attacked me, and now they are my captives. If they want, they can, 100,000 belly. List said with a faint smile. Kaya just thought List was very particular and had a slight liking for List, but after hearing List's remark, that good feeling disappeared in an instant. Pirates are indeed pirates. They say it so grandly. In the end, they are not kidnapping and extorting. Kaya was disgusted, but she still nodded in agreement. Okay, I'll pay to redeem them. This is our order, please help me purchase it. The purchase order was tallied up by Schindler, the logistics manager. List gave the purchase order directly to Melly. Afterwards, he directly let them go back. I am not afraid that they will not admit their debt after they return. Kaya took the purchase order and looked at it. After discovering that the above items were available in their Zybro village, they immediately handed the purchase order back to Meili and asked Meili to go back with a few bodyguards and 50 villagers to collect supplies. The rest continued to stay here and stare at List and others. After all, List and others are pirates. Although it seems that he has a very bottom line, he only buys but not grabs. However, Kaya still dare not be careless. After all, this was their first time seeing pirates. Who knew if they would play any tricks next? List didn't care when he saw this. After all, he knew very well what a pirate was. If he hadn't followed the path of being a pirate, he might have treated pirates like shit. However, List has not been idle either. After Melly took people back to collect supplies, List finally turned his attention to Kaya's side, Crow, who has always acted as a think tank. This gentleman wearing gold-rimmed glasses looks familiar to you. Have we met there? List looked at Crow with a half-smile. Crow's heart sank slightly. Did this guy recognize me? How can it be? I had faked my death 3 years ago. Even people who knew me before thought I was dead. I have long been forgotten. This guy looks so strange. He doesn't even have a bounty on his head. He must be a newcomer. How could he have seen me before? Could it be that he is deceiving me? Yes, that's definitely the case. Thinking of this, Crow's expression was slightly surprised. Mr. Pirate, are you mistaken? I have been on Cibro Island all these years. Did you see me there? It's probably on a certain reward order. You look like the captain of the Black Cat Pirates, Beiji Locke, who has a reward of 16 million. List said with a faint smile. Black Cat Captain Beiji Crow with a bounty of 16 million. When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but turn to look at Crow. Even Kaya next to her looked at Crow in surprise. However, they did not think that Crow was the Black Cat Pirates' Beiji Crow. Crow's eyes flashed with murderous intent. This guy actually guessed my identity. How did he guess that? Is my 3-year plan about to be exposed? This guy has a way to die. I must kill him. At this time, although Crow was full of murderous intent towards List. But the surface is calm and calm. Mr. Pirate, stop making fun of me. My name is Krabart, and I am completely different from the Beiji Crow you mentioned. I remember that 3 years ago, there seemed to be a newspaper that registered that the pirate named Beiji Crow seemed to have been arrested by a marine named Carmen. Quote, this gentleman with glasses has such a good memory. 3 years have passed and you still remember it. List laughed meaningfully. Upon hearing this, Kaya and others couldn't help but have a flash of doubt in their eyes. Yes, a piece of news 3 years ago can still be remembered today. Although it cannot be said that there is no such thing, there must be some other reasons why he was so impressed. This guy, Crow gritted his teeth with hatred. He found that he seemed to be led away by others. So, just shut up and say nothing. After all, talking too much is wrong, but not talking is good. Seeing that Crow didn't answer, List smiled disapprovingly. He said to himself, I heard that Beiji Locke is the smartest and most cunning pirate in the East Blue. 3 years ago, he seemed to be tired of being a pirate, so he introduced a scapegoat, and then gave his subordinate Hypnosis a marine, making him mistake the substitute for Hypnosis. Later, the marine was directly promoted to colonel and began to prey on the common people. However, the real Beiji Locke's whereabouts are unknown since then, and he does not know where he is lurking. Quote. List said more. Crow's eyes became more sinister. List glanced at Crow and smiled lightly. Ms. Kaya, when did the glasses man next to you come to your house? 3 years ago, Kaya said without thinking much. However, the next moment, he realized something was wrong. He glanced at Crow, then glared at List. Mr. Pirate, what do you mean? I believe Krabatar is not the black cat Captain Bijiklo you mentioned. Stop sowing discord here. Quote, Miss Kaya, thank you for your trust. Crow said to Kaya with gratitude. List smiled disapprovingly and said, by the way, I also heard that Locke likes to legally occupy other people's property. How to occupy it? First find a wealthy family, and then pretend to be a down-and-out person and meet the rich man. Then let the rich man discover his ability. Start using him again. After gaining the trust of the rich man, he killed the rich man. As for how to kill, of course it would be an accident or something like a virus. After the rich man died, he started to attack the rich man's family. He will attack the rich man's wife first. After the wife died, she started to attack the last of her children. Because the children are not married yet and have no offspring. After the child dies, the inheritance becomes ownerless. At that time, he only needs to forge a will and he can easily inherit all the inheritance left by the child. Quote, when List's story was finished, the entire seaside was silent. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.